Okay, sakto 1 o'clock. Good afternoon, class, and I hope all is well with you. Jay Mariano will be late because nag-brown out daw sa kanila. And Aven will not be able to join us, but she will watch because her parents took her out for lunch. Carson nagpaalam kanina. So anyway, for today's class, we will have Chef Pau Lagdameo. She'll be here in 15 minutes. I told her to come in. So essentially, what you will do today is listen and then ask questions, and you will write about it. That's your task, no? To write about it. But before that, no, I don't know if you have seen the news from the World Health Organization. They came out with a statement saying that it'll take 2 years to kick this pandemic. So that's depressing news. 2 years. So if you look at the history of the world, no, it's like that. It's about 2 years. And I don't think any rushed vaccine will be the solution to our problems. But that does change the equation for all of us, no? Because, oh my God, it's 2 more years of this. You know? But that's why I'm teaching this, so you'll be able to cope. And in fact, towards the next session, you will like that next session after this. No? We're in the 5th session. We have 2 more sessions. The 5th session, the 6th session, we'll talk about video, and because your 7th session is all about video. All right? But ayun, no? For the benefit of those who are just coming in, I think we're more or less complete for the class that will be here. May mga habol na iba. The World Health Organization came out with a statement that will take 2 years for the world to kick this COVID-19 virus. No? So we adjust, and I've mentioned that about adjusting to everything. And the incredible thing, I've been talking with advertisers over the last few days, influencers, people who do podcasts. A lot of it is shifting again because people are just learning to cope with the pandemic. So we'll be tackling that soon. All right. I just need you to know that soon we're going to be tackling video. It's a crash course in video in preparation. For those who are moving up to Module 2, just to remind everyone, Module 2 will be on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 o'clock, but maybe you might move it to 4:30 to 6. That might, in answer to Jules's question, yes, you can watch it on video after. No? But what is going to happen is you'll not only be doing writing, you'll be doing photos and videos and podcasting na. So there's a lot, and I will explain that in the next session. I had a long meeting with a lot of advertisers yesterday, people who do podcasts, about the trends and what's going on. And I think the learnings are very telling. However, having said that, it changes. I'll explain that ang bilis ng pagpalit, no? Because people are learning to cope with the pandemic. And it's good that you know this information because it will help you in what to do. Now, again, we'll have Chef Pauline. We'll have about 30 minutes with her. I have no idea how long she'll do the cooking demo, but the idea is to be able to use something that's in your pantry for a quick fix. I really think that you guys should also be considering things like that in addition to yung parang you should be thinking also about businesses. No? In fact, that's why I'm teaching these things, so you'll have a second career. I don't imagine all of you will go into Journ, but at least the principles behind it you will understand, and you will know how to implement it. Fascinating in learnings over the last week. We had a long meeting discussion about it, and these are advertisers, practitioners, directors. We had a long meeting, and I'm grateful to have attended that, because we were sharing notes, comparing notes, validating ideas with one another, and we came to a conclusion about certain things. And video is very important. Very, very important. Uh, just to give you an idea, and this is the last bit I'll say before we head into the Chef Pauline, 1 billion hours are consumed every day by the world's population on watching YouTube videos. So people spend at least 1 billion hours a day on YouTube. That's per day. That's an astounding number. So there is something for everyone. You just have to learn how to look for the piece of the pie for yourself. And we'll be tackling that in the next two classes, no? Before as we wind up. Ayun. Now for this one, while Chef Pau I'll introduce her when she comes in. We'll see her when she enters. And then she'll talk about what she's going to cook and she'll do the demo. I don't know if she'll allow you to, I don't know, I'll have to ask her if she'll allow questions while she's doing the demo. I guess it's fine naman with her. No. She's a one-woman operation, so she'll also be doing I don't know if she'll have someone to help her out with the camera. We were talking about it, so we'll see what happens. No. Again, you may watch this after class, just to give an idea, and we'll discuss it when she exits. We'll discuss how you want to write it. I will already give opportunities to a lot of you. If you've noticed, the other class, they've started having their stuff published already. And I will also offer that to this class. I will also offer it. No? So medyo mabigyan kayo ng head start. Yun nga eh. Nag-iiba, things are, wow, they're constantly changing. Constantly. And I myself, I'm seeing how everyone is adjusting. And it's, at least people are moving. It's dynamic. No? Very dynamic. Now, with this one, when you write about Chef Pau, I don't know if some of you guys, I requested that you put up your blogs already. And I want your blogs to be there because it is a form of communication today. It is a form. And remember, today when you apply for work, people look for your social media imprint, your footprint. If you don't have a social media footprint, you're flagged. They flag you as a potential terrorist or something. Huh? So if they find nothing about your name, for example, if they Google Erica, they don't see Erica on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, this might be a troll, not even a real person. Okay? So it's good. It's good because people will always track you. As I told you, when I was working with Mindshare, we would always look at the social media impressions of people we work with, whether they're influencers, they're athletes. The more people, the more selfies that we see, for example, about Eliza Valdez or Mika Reyes, the better it is for them. The more people write about them, mention them on Facebook, the better it is because you know that people matter. All right? And the incredible thing is, yes, people are online now, so they're paying more attention. But because everyone is online, there's just so much to offer out there. So much that you have to keep people's attentions riveted to what you're doing. All right? You have to remember, here today, gone tomorrow. Okay, any questions about what we're going to do with Chef Pau? Ito recommendation ko. You take down notes already. Don't just wait for the video. Huh? I really recommend in anything that you do, huwag kayong umasa sa video. Take down notes. So, and then when you take down notes, you validate it when you watch the video. Huh? And when you write about Chef Pau, go with what moves you. You do not yet have to use every single quote or statement that she says. All right, I will explain that. I think I've explained it before. There is no need to use every scrap of information that is offered to you. Diba? If the subject that you're interviewing, like I'll give you an example. Last week when we were interviewing Jalen Green and Brian Shaw, Jalen kept talking about love, 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 love. In almost every other quote, he mentioned love, but it was love of the game, love support. Diba? Most people will latch on to the, hey, I'm in the G League, but everyone's writing about that. Diba? So you need to look for angles. And as I told you, when you look at something, you comb over it with a comb, like a forensic detective. You go over every scrap of information. Diba? So yun. I hope that you have your blogs. I think it's imperative that you put up your blogs. Now, isulat nyo, pero you let me check what you're going to write. You'll check everything for if it's grammatically correct, if they're non-essential stuff, because I don't want you posting things that pagtatawanan kayo ng tao. Alright? Alam mo naman, pag nagkamali, binibilangan tayo. Binibilangan. That can be the kiss of death. And guys, when you post it, not only, and I'm going to remind you again, do not tag only your classmates. Tag other people who will be interested. All right? And the way social media works, just to give you an idea, kami sa Mindshare, we had 120 clients. Well, when I was there, I don't know how many clients they have now. So, for example, for websites like ABS-CBN or BBC, British Broadcasting Company, if they post something on their Facebook, an article, let's say they talk about, like right now in the Subway Series in New York, baseball has been postponed because some New York Mets players were found to be positive for COVID. Now, what happens is, for example, AJ writes about it. When AJ posts it, let's say on his Facebook, they will always look how many people like, how many people comment, how many people share. That is the secret to engagement. It's not enough that you get people to like. You want people to say, oh, I like this is nice, but they also want people who will ask questions or where can I buy this? That is what you call engagement. Okay, you need to engage people. Since this is food, and remember we did the food exercise. Diba? And we will revisit that for module 2, yung food na ginawa ninyo. I really think that you should, food is one of the more profitable things in this time. I think businesses that really go in this pandemic, you should consider that as a backup plan to a lot of things that we do. All right, and the principles behind it, writing, photography, Instagram. Teka, may i-share lang ako sa inyo ngayon, ha? Ito yung latest data na nakuha ko. When it comes to video, 30 seconds for Instagram. I know we said 1 minute, but you're down to 30 seconds. If you're posting video on Twitter, 45 seconds. Facebook, 1 minute. YouTube, 2 minutes. Diba? I'll share that with you na lang sa chat room. But because there's just so much again. Everyone is online, diba? So you have to capture their attention. Writing, yes, it's still there. It is still there. Blogs are still very important. All right? So when you share this article, the story that you will write about Chef Pau, you can write it first person from your point of view, what you learned, or you can write it objectively. Whatever suits your palette. You can write it either way, I'm fine. But you have to post it and share it, diba? And when you write it, I also want you to ask people, like, you do a personal reflection towards the end. What did this whole session teach you? Does it open your mind to doing some cooking? Diba? Does it open your mind to open a business in this time of COVID? Diba? Something like that. Have a personal reflection. And I will share something. Yun na. Chef is here. She's in. You're right on time. Right on time. Hi, Chef Pau.
Hi, Ricky. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Are you on cam? I haven't seen you yet.
I have no idea. Wait. I'm using my phone lang.
Yeah, your camera's not yet on, Chef.
Yeah, wait. Hold on. Wait.
Sige lang, sige lang. Class, pagpasok ni Chef Pau, mag-hi kayo. Unmute your microphones, class. Let's wait for her.
Thing. Can you see me? No, wait. There. Okay. Wait.
It's all right.
There.
Oh, there you are.
Huh?
There you are. Good to see you, classmate.
I have to walk. I have to walk because so that you can see the demo.
Yeah, I'll introduce you first before they say hi to you, Chef Pauline. Chef Pau. She was my classmate in a few subjects like Nat Sci and all that. She's my batchmate. She took up comm, I took up IS. Her mom was former Dean of Assumption. Tama? Dean ng Assumption.
Yeah,
her dad, if I'm not mistaken, is a former professor in the Ateneo Law School and Solicitor General. Tama ba?
My grandfather.
Oh, all right. So, ayun, and she was one of the nicest people in my batch, and I ran around with a crazy barkada called Asok, and she was one of those who were not afraid of us. I never thought she would be a chef, but I'm so happy to see that she is one and a well-known one. So there, that's Chef Pauline Lagdameo. Say hi, everyone, class. Say hi to her.
Hello.
Hello.
Kulang sila, Chef Pau, kulang sila ng dalawa na yung isa, tatlo pala, yung isa nag-brown out daw. Ayan.
Okay.
Oh, Chef, take it away. It's your show.
Okay, I'm going to shut off first the video because I have to put the phone, on the other side of the room para you can see the video. Okay, I've never done this like at the same time na Zoom, na video, na me lang. So, tell me if you can see me. Okay?
Sige lang.
So I'm going to I'll just shut the video.
Sige lang, go, Chef. Talaga naman, no? When you're in college, you have no idea what your classmate is going to do for the rest of their lives. And sa bagay, no one knew
Sir, is she a pure Filipino?
Yeah.
Me?
Sorry.
I didn't mute. I just shut the video.
My God, I've not seen her since college. No. I've seen you somewhere. I can't remember where. I think we had a batch reunion. I'm not sure.
Okay. My mom's helping me. She's the one going to press start video.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon po. Good afternoon po.
They're so adorable.
Good afternoon po, ma'am.
So you can see my That's on selfie mo.
We can see you.
Yeah, wait. I have to figure out. Wait, how do I go? There. Okay.
Yan.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is what's happened with me not being in com for like 20 years.
No,
Okay.
that's okay.
All right. So, for today, can I just start already?
Yes, please.
Okay. So for today, what Rick told me to do was really a very simple dessert, which is ideal for the pandemic. So I'm not using first of all, any special equipment. I don't know if you can see the ingredients, and I'm just using a burner.
Mm-hmm.
This is a simple one. You can go with gas if you want, or electric. This is just easier for me. And if you look at my ingredients, okay, I don't know if you can see it. We have flour.
Yep.
Right. Vanilla, sugar, white sugar, egg yolks,
Mm-hmm.
and then milk, you can see it here, and salt.
Right.
And this is what we call a verrine. It's actually a pudding, but we call it a verrine because I'm going to be putting it in a glass. So you can use any glass at home, or if you don't have a glass, if you want to put it in a pan, that's fine as well. You can use your disposable pans or Pyrex or anything like that. It does not need the oven. It does not need any, KitchenAid mixers or anything like that. Okay, so we're just going to start. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'll put it here first on top because anyway, we don't need the stove first. So I have my egg yolks, which I already put here. And you just put in the sugar. Okay, tell me if I'm going too fast.
No, it's okay. How much sugar,
Okay.
Chef? How much sugar?
4 egg yolks, 1 cup sugar.
Okay.
Okay. And then we're going to put in the salt here. And we're going to put in all the flour. So you don't have to worry here about, am I doing this correctly? Does it have to be, whisk? In fact, there was like an old wives' tale that, you have to whisk it in one direction. No, you don't need to do any of that. So I just have to whisk it and just make sure that everything is incorporated. This is actually quite a fast dessert. And if you have everything in the house, you can go ahead and really just, do and make whatever flavors you want. Like, for example, if you want this to be coffee, I would just add some coffee powder here. Don't worry if it looks like it's all stuck together. That's fine because we're actually going to cook this. Okay. So let me just use my rubber spatula.
Uh-huh.
This rubber spatula kasi is the one really for whisking it. I mean, for like egg whites. So if you see spatulas like this, it's meant to actually really incorporate air quickly, which we don't really need to do now because we're not making like whipped cream or we're not making like a meringue or something. So I'm going to just shift this to my rubber spatula. And pretty much what you want here is to just incorporate everything. Well, the nice thing with this is actually if you don't want to, or if you don't have a weighing scale, or if you don't have cup measures, you can actually, let's say, for example, lessen the sugar, or you can substitute something else. Like you can substitute, for example, brown sugar, or even honey. So this is not a recipe wherein you really have to have like exact measurements because I think a lot of people get worried about that. The ones who don't bake and the ones who don't cook. If they don't follow a recipe, they don't want to do it anymore because they don't have, like a scale at home. With this one, it will still taste good even if you adjust. Okay. So this looks good. I'll set this aside first. And I'm now going to put my milk into the pot. And we're actually just going to heat this up until it comes to a boil. Or even what they call scalding. It's not really boiling. It's just like, you have on the side of the pan, like small bubbles. So while this is going, okay, I want to explain what the other ingredients are. I have vanilla, but you can actually change this to other flavors again. Like, for example, if I'm going to make this into chocolate pudding, I can actually just add cocoa powder, the cheaper version of a chocolate pudding, or you can use melted chocolate. And if for chocolate, I can tell you later on where to put the chocolate. Okay. This one here, if you see it's not even crushed properly, these are butter cookies. Actually, I couldn't find the butter cookies that we usually have. So this is like butter coconut crackers. Okay. I purposely made it big pieces. You can grind this up if you want, finely, or you can keep it whole also. So that this will be our base. So instead of making a crust, you can use this. Now, for this one, you can use whatever you want. You can go with Oreos, Graham. If you don't want it so sweet, you can even go with like feta or skyflakes. So whatever is available. In fact, sometimes when you buy the cookies, they're like crumbs. So you can actually save the crumbs and use it for this as our base. Okay. I'm using bananas. I didn't cut it yet so that it doesn't, because I'm keeping it fresh. I didn't cut it yet so that it doesn't turn brown. And I just happen to have some strawberries just for color later. What you can do is whatever fruits you have, you can use that. So if you have mango, pineapple, fruit cocktail, all of those types of fruits are whatever you find at home, go ahead. If I'm going like with a chocolate pudding or a mocha pudding, I might not even use any fruits. You can go with nuts, you can go with chocolate chips. You can even use things like the champola or stickpo. So the important thing here is the base. So I'm just going to use the same rubber spatula. What I did in this recipe also is I'm not using a lot of, if you see like some professional demos, there's like one rubber spatula per component. I'm thinking of the house where you don't have all of these things. So I'm just stirring it. I don't know if you can see it in the video that it's actually starting to smoke already. Okay. And if you see here, this is what we call scalding. You see there are like small bubbles on the side. That's fine. I am actually going to shut this off. And then slowly whisk this into the mixture earlier, which is the one with the eggs and the sugar. This is what we call tempering. And tempering means adding slowly. In this case, it's two components which have different temperatures. If I add, there are two things that will happen if I add this all at once. Number one, the flour is going to lump up. And number two, since this is already very hot, you're going to cook your eggs. So you want to add it slowly so that it doesn't lump up and you don't get scrambled eggs. So you just mix this. Once it's blended, that's when I can actually put in all the egg. Okay, so if you see here, I'm not even using a wire whisk, I'm just using a rubber spatula. And now it's very liquid. I am going to add this back into the pot because we're going to cook it. We don't want raw eggs. So we add this back into the pot. I'll put this here at the bottom. And then we just cook this. This is where you have to stir continuously. And you just wait for it to come up to a boil. Normally, you'd want like a medium heat here. It depends on your burner. The induction burner heats up quite quickly. But since you're stirring it, then it shouldn't burn in the bottom, at the bottom of the pot. So you will notice also that because of the flour and eggs, it's going to thicken quite quickly. By the way, while I'm doing this, I don't know, I'll be able to hear you. You might have questions already.
No, it's okay. You can finish it and then I'll ask your questions. Or unless do any of you have questions? Wala pa, later na.
Okay. If you notice, I didn't add the vanilla yet. If you're using an extract, the extracts, like what you find in the supermarket, are actually alcohol-based. So if I add this in now, what will happen is that the flavor is just going to evaporate. So we're going to add this at the end. This, remember when I was heating up the milk, if you're using, I mentioned earlier, if you're using the chocolate, you would just chop the chocolate finely. And you can actually add the chocolate in as well, melting already the chocolate, so that when you get to this point, your chocolate's fully melted, it's actually chocolate pudding already. So you see here, quite fast, it's actually boiling already. And what you want to do to make sure that your flour is cooked, I'll turn it down a bit, to make sure that your flour is cooked and that your eggs are also cooked, you just count 1 minute. So if this was coffee, you can also put in the coffee, mix that in with the flour and egg yolks. Okay. And what are other flavors that you can put in? For example, you can put in orange. If you're using fresh orange, you use the peel, the orange zest, what we call the zest, which is the yellow part. Okay, this should be good. You use the zest or the yellow part of the orange and you steep that in the milk. So that's going to already, or even lemon zest, and that's already going to incorporate the flavor of the orange and the lemon or lemon into the mixture without you actually having to squeeze the juice. You normally don't want to squeeze the juice in because it's acidic. So your milk, if you put in the juice, will just coagulate, giving you lumps in your mixture. And the zest has more flavor. That's where the main flavor is when you talk about citrus fruits compared to the juice. Okay, so you might want desserts that don't have, or even sauces, savory sauces, where you don't want you want the orange flavor, the lemon flavor, but you don't want the acidity or the sour taste. Okay, so this is good. Since our demo is quite fast, what you would normally want to do here is cool this down to room temperature. But since we're doing this quickly, I'm going to already fill up the glass right away. If you're going to cool this down, you would transfer this into a pot or a bowl. And then what you do is you put a plastic wrap, the cling wrap, straight onto the surface of the pudding. The reason is if you leave it out, you're going to form a film on top. And then when you mix it already, when it's cool, it's going to give you lumps. But since we're using it right away, you don't need to do that. Can you use a wire whisk here? Yes, you can. If you want it super smooth, you could even strain this. I'm not going to strain it anymore because that's just an extra step. If you're doing this at home, then that's too many things to wash as well. And as long as it tastes good, that's what's important. Now is the time I'm going to put the vanilla. Okay, so we just stir it in. This will actually set once it's cold. So even if you have let's say for example, if you have a party also, you can do this ahead of time, put it in the chiller, and then decorate the top right before serving it to your guests. Okay, so now we assemble. I have my banana. I'm going to put it here. It's a little bit warm. So I'm going to just cut this. By the way, I washed my hands. I don't have gloves now. Because Rick, I asked you, is this going to be for public?
No, it's just.
But this is the way to do it if you don't have also again a chopping board. And I'm not really holding the banana. Okay, so how much fruits you want to put? It's up to you. I think for that size of glass, I'm going to go with 2 bananas. So you can do many layers, or you can do just, for example, the cookies and then the banana and then the pudding, or it's up to you what you want to do. Okay, so I just cut up the bananas. And that doesn't look good. Okay. And I have a spoon. So we assemble now our dessert. And I'm putting some of the crushed butter cookies on the bottom. Again, you can use Graham, Oreos, whatever other cookies you have there.
Oh.
Okay. Then we put in, let me just grab, I think I need another spoon. Okay, quickly, I have a measuring spoon. And you just put this in. Professionally, we would put this into a pastry bag so it's easier to pipe. You don't really need that. Okay.
The pastry bag is the one they used to squeeze, right?
Yes, with a tip. This is just easier to pipe in.
Right, right.
Okay, I put my bananas. You can make your design.
Wow. Now I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
Again, any fruit that you have available, even it's like pineapple, fruit cocktail,
Mangoes.
mangoes. Okay, let's put just some color. But I just happen to have strawberries. That's why I'm putting strawberries. Okay, just so color. And you see I'm pushing it to the side so that they see the color from the glass, the side of the glass. Okay. I'll add again more. So it doesn't even really have to be so filled up so that you can actually see the fruits on the side. I'll add more of the cookies. Just play around.
Wow.
Play around, add more cookies, add more pudding.
Chef Pau,
Yes.
is this an original recipe of yours?
Okay. Banana pudding or pudding in general is really a traditional recipe from England all the way up to the US. This type of pudding is more common to the southern part of the United States, where they use different ingredients as well. But the base is always the same. Another term for this is the stirred custard, or you can even call it pastry cream. This is the same formulation, like what they put inside the donuts. Okay. But the thing with this, of course, the one they put in the donuts is already commercial. That's like powder already. So this is like if you're doing it from scratch.
Okay. Wow.
Is it really what I just did here? And so I would say it's a traditional mixture in pastry. But what I did was I just fixed a little bit the formulation, like how much sugar to put, or you want it more eggs, you want it less flour. This is, if you notice already, it's quite thick. Some people want it more runny, so I would put less flour or a little bit more milk. You can use evap, by the way, also for this instead of fresh milk. It's just that I have fresh milk on hand, so you can use what you want. You can use brown sugar if you want, muscovado, even coconut sugar, or let's say if you're diabetic, diba? So you can change. You can even use stevia if you want here to make it really like a sugar-free dessert. So we just finish it. I'm putting more bananas on top.
Wow.
You can put chocolate sauce. You can put chocolate chips. So it's very easy because it's the type of recipe where whatever you have on hand at home, the important thing is you have the sweetener, which is the sugar, the eggs, and the milk. Other than that, it's up to you what flavor you want to make your dessert. So let's just add some of the strawberries at the end. Okay, we put some strawberries just for color. What if you were going to sell this? Oops. Okay, never mind. What if you're going to sell this? You can sell this and put it in your aluminum containers, for example, the ones that they have now. And then just layer it. Okay. Let's take that out. And I'll just put some extra. I'm going to look for them a little bit crumbs that are kind of fine, if I can get. With a little bit more crumbs on top.
Chef Pau, is this best served cold or
Cold or room temperature.
okay? All right.
So you don't have to worry about it like, oh, it's going to melt. It's because of the flour. The flour actually keeps it stable.
Okay.
Okay. So this is our final product. You can see it.
Can you
With the bananas and strawberries and your cookies and the pudding.
Chef, can you bring it closer to the camera so we can take a picture? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Ayan. One more picture.
Wait. Or hindi makita my hand.
It's all good. It's all good. There you go. Wow.
Okay. So that's it. Very quick, very fast. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope even if you cannot cook, you can cook this at home because you don't need specific temperatures, ovens, measuring scales to do this type of dessert.
Wow. Impressive. And I'm hungry as well.
I wish I could sell it to you now.
Well, ayan, nagpalakpakan yung mga estudyante ko. Class will open the floor to questions for Chef Pau.
Can I go there and get my phone?
Sure.
Okay, I'll go there.
Class, before you ask your question, kindly introduce yourself first, okay? Let's be respectful in our asking questions. Who will go first? Erica? Okay. Sige,
Yes, please.
let's wait for Chef Pau to come back.
Wait, I'll stop again. Sorry, I'll stop the video so I'll walk to the other side.
Sure. Wow. Nagutom ako.
Ha? Nagutom ka.
Wait, I have to twist it. So now you see where I put the camera. I have to be like resourceful.
No, it's all good.
Okay,
Alright.
wait. Okay, there again.
Are you ready?
You know what? I'm gonna move. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna sit down in the chair.
Sige lang, Chef.
You can ask questions.
Sige lang.
Sit
Oh.
There.
Better. Oh, go, Erica. Magpakilala ka muna kay Chef Pau.
Hi, Chef Pau. My name is Erica. I have some questions lang po because I really like the idea of being able to cook something even if you don't have professional materials and weighing scales and temperatures and all that. I was just wondering, if you have no whisk or spatula, is there a substitute you may suggest? Because I feel like the whisk, kasi, diba, it really makes incorporation better.
Yes.
With a fork or a spoon. Is there something that you may suggest?
That's the reason why, if you notice, when I just whisked it earlier just to incorporate it into the egg, right? But that's the reason why I actually use the rubber spatula when I was already cooking it, diba? When I was adding the milk little by little, to show you that you don't really need a whisk. You can go with the wooden spoon or your regular kitchen spoon, the silver one. The stainless one, you can use that as well. In fact, you can even use if it's a small batch, you can even use a regular spoon lang. The important thing is to incorporate the hot milk slowly into the egg and flour mixture so that you don't get lumps and so that the eggs don't scramble.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You have a follow-up question, Erica? I thought you had some questions.
I do actually. I have like a lot of questions, but it's not exactly about the cooking part. I was going to ask the is it okay if I ask it? Okay. How long did it take since you started to become who you are right now? Like from communication, you said like it's kind of a divide from cooking. It's like Sir Rick being in journalism right now. So how did you start? Like how did you decide that you wanted to get into this?
Because even when I was young, I really enjoyed cooking and baking. But at that time, there were no culinary schools. And it wasn't, I guess, like a respectable, in quotes, career to become a chef. It would be like, ay, kusinero ka lang. Or let's say, if you study in UP, it would be like home economics. And then people would say, oh, you're going to be a housewife, like that. Not that housewives are,
Yeah, for sure.
Becoming housewife, I wish not.
Yeah.
Anyway, So I was actually in advertising after graduation. At that time, I was in advertising, and then I was supposed to take my master's in advertising with a friend of mine. We were supposed to go to the States. She was taking something else, and then come back here. At I was in since in I don't know if you're all familiar with the advertising industry. It's really a lot of sleepless nights and really long hours. So at that
Yeah.
time, my dad was like kind of like hated my schedule also. So I wanted to but my friend, in short, my friend ended up leaving first. So she came
Okay.
back for Christmas and she said, "You should come because it's so nice. It's different in the States, etc., etc." I said, "I know. If I'm going to go to the States, I just want to study cooking or languages or something. I didn't want to do another thesis." So at that, I didn't know what culinary being a professional chef entailed. But anyway, so I applied. She sent me an application form. Then I applied and I got accepted. So even when I left for the States, it was really with the idea to kind of appease my dad, take culinary, enjoy for 2 years, and then come back and go back to advertising. But then what happened was dire-diretso na. so
Okay.
so yeah, I still use a lot of the what I learned in until now. Like this, being resourceful, like jumping from the back of the house to the front of the house, diba?
Yeah.
But yeah, in the end, I think the two kind of like intertwined and melded together. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Okay, any questions pa?
Thank you so much.
Who wants to ask? AJ, go ahead, AJ. AJ, we can't hear you.
Hi, Chef Pau. I'm Abe, an aspiring chef as well. Is it really
Okay.
required for most chefs to study food tech or in HRM before entering into culinary?
No, not really. If you notice, I was not food tech or HRM. In fact, the older chefs, um, they didn't even study like culinary or anything. They really went through, the process of starting from the bottom. Some of them, in fact, even dishwashers, and they just moved up the ladder because of their potential. Is it really? I've had students who um sometimes, in fact, my students were the ones who you'd think like, are you really going to make it in this industry? And then they're the ones now who are even more successful than me. Food tech is helpful. I was a corporate chef for a long time. Food tech is helpful in the sense that you understand the commercial side. When I talk about commercial, it's like commercial manufacturing. Because, for example, if I'm baking, like I have a business now, no, I don't need to put, for example, preservatives, additives, and all of that. But if let's say I start working, for example, for a McDonald's or a Jollibee, where you have to have the consistency and you have to have the very, very long shelf life, because it has to be shipped, all around the country or even internationally, that's when the food techs come in. So, in fact, some food techs, they don't even know how to cook, but they can tell you what to put in if you want let's say, the burger patty to last 1 month. So that's where the food tech, it helps, especially for being a corporate chef, but it's not, I would say, it's not a requirement. Even HRM is not a requirement, because there are so many aspects of the food industry that you can get into. You don't have to work for a restaurant or hotel. You can actually be um a journalist. You can write about food, or you can be even like a photographer who concentrates on food photos, especially now with all these IG and all these online stuff. So those are aspects of the industry that most of the ones just starting do not think about. They just think, I have to be in a restaurant or hotel. But there are many other avenues in the food industry that you can get into.
Right.
Follow-up question then po regarding culinary schools. Is
Mhm.
everything really taught in culinary schools even though you have no idea about cooking?
Culinary schools, I think, are the advantage is you're able to learn and you're able to practice the foundations in a setting where you're not going to be fired from the job for burning something. Uh, it also gives you the background or the foundation of why certain techniques are a certain way. Like, for example, I was talking to you about tempering earlier and the reason why I have to temper that. If I didn't study culinary, the ones who are there through experience know that they have to do that, but they don't know the reason why they have to do that. If you get what I mean. So that's where culinary schools are helpful. But but being in a professional kitchen is totally different from being in a school kitchen. You don't have the stress. You don't have the um, how should I say? You have to have the endurance, the stamina if you're working in a restaurant or in a hotel. Because imagine if in culinary school they're teaching you, for example, to make exactly what I made, right? That banana strawberry pudding. It's easy here in the house, right? But what if you are making that for 500 people? And you cannot say, wait, first, it's not boiling. You have to work fast. You have to have a system uh, to assemble the dessert. You have to find out, what if I cannot store it? What am I supposed to do? All of those things happen in a professional kitchen that they're not going to teach you in culinary school.
Thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
Any more questions?
Sir, hi ma'am, I'm Ami.
Wait, I
Yeah,
have to see my, okay, there.
I'm Ami Tanyada. I'm from Pangasinan. My son kasi ma'am, he's already senior high. He's really good
Mm-mm.
in cooking. I'm not saying this because I'm his mama. He really is good in cooking. He even knows how to plating and even yung mga inches sa onion. Sabi niya kailangan daw pantay-pantay kasi he's a fan of Gordon Ramsay. Gordon, is that
Yeah,
Gordon Ramsay?
yeah,
So,
Gordon
naririnig
Ramsay.
ko lang
So
minsan sa
mahilig talaga
kanya.
siya.
Sobra man. Pero ang sarap niya talaga pong magluto. Even yung mga basic lang na ginisang sayote, and then to the stroganoff, nagluluto na siya. He's only 17 years old. Ngayon,
Mm-mm.
pinupush ko siya na mag-chef kasi he want to be in PMA or in PNPA. Kaya
Mm.
lang po kasi Seventh-day Adventist kami. Yun ang last na, nung kinausap ko siya kung bakit ayaw niya mag-push into culinary, ang sabi niya, ma, kasi ang daming bawal sa atin, which is true. Kasi as an Adventist, we're not allowed to eat pork, and then yung mga fishes na walang kaliskes,
Mm-mm.
shellfish, alat. Actually, ang sobrang daming
Yeah,
bawal.
yeah.
Even yung mga preservatives, we're not allowed to eat that. Even
Mm-mm.
sodas. So, yun ang
Okay.
sinasabi niya sa akin na, how can I cook nang mag-aaral ako ng ganun if ang dami nating bawal na food. So, do you think may potential siya or pwede pa kaya siyang mag-push into culinary sa ganung situation?
Okay. The question is, I'm not familiar kasi sa Adventist, sa Seventh-day Adventist, but can you hold the food even if you don't eat it? Kasi,
Pauline, we lost.
example,
Pauline, we lost you. Pauline, we lost you sa audio. Audio, we cannot hear you.
can you hear me?
Yeah, but it's kind of humina siya.
You know why? It's suddenly raining here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but it's like it's coming out of a transistor radio. So humina yung volume.
Okay. I'm going to move back here to the kitchen. Can you
Here.
hear me?
Yeah, better.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? I think it started raining. All right. The question back to the Seventh-day Adventist, can you hold the food even if you don't eat it? Pwede bang, let's say, clean the fish or bawal? Hello?
Amy, bawal boy.
Bawal po.
Bawal.
About
Mm.
okay. I think the only thing, because the hard part, if you go to a professional culinary school, is you're going to have to handle all those products that
Mm.
might be bawal.
Mm.
Okay? Uh, so I really don't know how important that is. But just to give you an example, my last corporate job was based in Malaysia. So in Malaysia, you can count the restaurants na hindi halal.
Mm.
So there were so many, I have quite a few friends na Malaysian chefs na hindi talaga humahawak, for example, ng pork.
Mm.
Diba? What I'm saying is that if you come back, let's say here to the Philippines, to Manila, our problem, in fact, at that time was when we have meetings here, ang hirap maghanap ng restaurant to bring them out na halal.
Mm.
Kasi bawal nga. They can't even, like for example, may grill, tapos let's say nagluto kayo ng chicken barbecue, and then magluto ng pork barbecue in the same grill, bawal sa kanila. So, I think without formal education, there you have to determine your target market. So, kung ang target market niya talaga, for example, is Seventh-day Adventists, or even vegetarians, diba? Or even vegetarians, then there will be a market for that. You might not get the market of Jollibee, which is, millions of people eating there in a day, but it's if he can create food and cook food specifically for your community, diba? Like how many people, let's say, is there really a restaurant here sa, let's say, sa Manila na, or, sorry, where are you from? Batangas? Na,
Pangasinan.
Pangasinan, sorry. Na ganyan na pwede kayong kumain na parang relax lang na you know na you're not breaking any of the rules of your religion. Diba? If he's the first one to put that up in Pangasinan, I'm sure yung buong community niyo kakain na doon, di ba, kung masarap. So it's a matter of, here's where my com comes in. It's a matter of defining your target market. Now, I think what can happen is, ang mahirap nga sa kanya is, he cannot hold if he goes to culinary school, he will be forced to hold that. You have to learn how to clean the fish, and things like that. So I don't know. I think that's the dilemma there of sending him to a culinary school. Unless, again, I'm not familiar with your religion, but can there be an exception to that? Diba? Or
Thank
parang
you, ma'am.
Muslim nga na talagang bawal humawak ng pork. So, yan. But if he's really, really good, I am sure meron niyang mga chefs na Seventh-day Adventist also. Because that's the other way to go. Maybe it's not a formal education, but if he can get a mentor na Seventh-day Adventist, then he will be able to learn really from someone the proper way of doing things also from another chef.
Right.
That's all I can say. Kasi, I'm not
Thank you, ma'am. It's really helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Chef Pau, can you talk about what you do now? Do you have a restaurant? Do you have a school? So the students can incorporate that. What are you doing now?
No, I actually have my online baking business now. I resigned from my corporate job. What's that? End of May last year. And from that time, I started. I've been doing consultancy. I was doing consultancy, and I really started already the online baking business. But I didn't concentrate on it because I was busy out with consultancy.
Mm-hmm.
But when the pandemic hit, in fact, in the beginning, I didn't even know if I could get ingredients until someone here in our village suddenly said na someone asked for a cake. And then one of my neighbors said, "Oh, what na kami?" I said, "Sige na nga." And then I found that I could get what I needed without going out of the house. So I decided to really concentrate on my online business.
Mhm.
But I really started it last year pa,
Okay.
with the purpose really of online delivery. So if you actually look at my page, I only have three, well, and one limited time offer product, three variants, because one, I'm doing it by myself, and number two, yes, I can do fancy cakes, but will it survive Lala Move and Grab? Diba?
Mm.
So my cakes are not like the fancy cakes because pagdating ng Lala Move ay matutunaw, which is useless. So I really created the menu or the recipes thinking of Lala Move and Grab, and um, something which the customers still like, but at the same time, when it gets to them, it's not, nalusaw na. Parang ganun.
Right. Right.
That's what I'm busy with now because we're all kind of stuck at home. Diba?
Right. Chef, what's the name of your online baking so that they can check it out?
It's called Chef Peace, P''S. In Facebook, it's at Chef Pauline. Because there was another Chef Peace already, but um, it's at Chef Pauline for my FB page. In IG, it's at chefp.s.
Okay. All right.
I decided to call it that because all my students call me Chef P. And even my former office mates, everyone's like Chef P. So I said, I'm not going to take anymore. I'm going to Chef Peace for the university.
Okay, class. Do you have any more questions?
I have a few questions.
Yes.
Go.
Wait, let me swipe. Okay.
Chef Pau, and my name's Jules. Well,
Hello,
first,
Jules.
do you have as a chef, did you have a certain measuring stick that you wanted to reach or pretty much live up to when it comes to flavor, when it comes to consistency, when it comes to experience for people who are eating whatever it is you create? Was there any standard that you wanted to reach?
You know what? When I started this, I didn't, like have a specific goal. Like what I told you earlier, the culinary was really, all the while I was trying to go back to advertising. So I didn't say like, oh, I want to take this because I want to become an executive chef of a hotel, for example. As I went through life, things just started falling into place. So, but in terms of the food, I think my measuring stick really is quality and consistency. So what you mean? Quality is such a general term because it's really value for money is another thing. Because what can be high quality for me might not be high quality for you. For example, at the same time, when I talk about value for money, it's back again to your target market because for example when I was working, one of our clients was 7-Eleven, and they wanted to come up with a bread line in line with our company. So what when we were developing the recipes at that time, they wanted to have the quality of like Japanese 7-Eleven or Family Mart, but at 20 pesos. So we would have to try to, or we try to create recipes that would meet those particular standards. Which is very different, of course, when you look at, let's say, if I buy a bun from 7-Eleven, that's not a bun from like a 5-star hotel or a French fine dining restaurant. That would be a different measure of quality. If I'm using, like for example, I change from margarine to butter, that's already a change in quality. So whatever product I'm making, when I talk about quality, it is in line with also the target market and the price points that I'm looking at. For my personal growth, in the beginning, it's, you look at, oh, it's so nice to be a celebrity chef, for example, or to be known. Parang I've kind of like realized that there are so many chefs who are so good, but they don't have to be on TV or they don't have to be really well known. I'm not saying that the well known ones are bad. They do also um, influence a lot of people, but for me right now, it's really more of paying it forward uh, and sharing what I know also. I don't believe in secrets. You were asking me earlier, like, is this my own recipe? I'm going to admit to you, yeah, I had to get a base recipe, then I just, tweaked it. But it's continuing to learn, continuing to improve. In the food industry, there are always new trends. What was a trend 5 years ago is not a trend now. Like, who would have thought? Who heard about sushi bake before the pandemic, right? So it's constant learning. So for me, it's constant learning, but it's also constant giving back. So if I'm going to talk about a goal now, it's probably more of maybe I've learned already quite a bit, but it's giving back in different ways as well. Whether it's like students or you guys or my former colleagues or my consultancy.
Right, right.
I don't know if I answered my question, but I don't know if I answered your question. It's like it's rambling
No, no,
right
no,
now.
yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I mean, lastly, well, first I want to say thanks for the really simple demo where we can just grab stuff here in our pantries.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
it kind of ties to what's going on right now.
Mhm.
Everyone's stuck at home. We're limited in our times going out. So with that in mind, let's say we're only allowed to go out once a week or so. I mean, is there any particular, I mean, not just for desserts or anything that you prepare every day, is there any particular ingredient or group of ingredients that you can't live without or that you always have to have with you for a long period of time so you can easily prepare things like that?
Um, well, okay, this is aside from the business, right? This is like personal, like ingredients at home. Am I correct? Or you're asking me about ingredients for my business?
No, no, just for personal consumption. Yeah.
Personal consumption. Okay, eggs, sugar, flour, and or cornstarch, milk. And when we talk about milk, that could be um, fresh milk, evap, powdered milk. I've done. You can, by the way, you can do this recipe with powdered milk. You just reconstitute it and use it like your fresh milk. What else? Yeah, pretty much that's it. That's it. Because at home uh, you might have different fruits, for example, right? So you can use that. You might even have junk food. You can use that as well. But yeah, for the baking side, that's the most important, I think.
Okay.
And all of these things you can use also for cooking.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Do we have any
Okay.
more questions? We'll take one last. Go, Chris. Go.
Oh, hello, yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Go.
Chef, yes,
Yes.
oh. Okay. Chef, I read your interview
Mm-hmm.
with Giorgio Silvestre on Daily
Yes.
Tribune. Yes.
Yes.
It's very encouraging, inspiring
Mm-hmm.
in one way or the other. Pero
Thank
hinahanap ko
you.
dito, who are your inspiration
Sorry.
in cooking? Who are your inspiration?
Inspirations in cooking.
Yes,
I have
yes.
quite a few inspirations. I've been very lucky with my culinary career because I had very good mentors.
Mhm.
And I had quite a few. I think the very first one that I really consider really a mentor is and I'm talking about mentor not just in skills but as a person is Jessie
Yes.
Sinchoco. Uh,
Oh, wow.
I used to work with her at the Intercon when I was still doing the sales and PR job before I got into culinary. But one thing struck me with, she's very good, by the way. But one thing struck me with her and is, I remember there was this one time because I studied high school in Assumption, but I was taking my internship in Le Souffle. It was still in Greenbelt at that time. And Assumptionans came with someone, I don't know. And so she brought me out. And then one of them asked her, not me, one of them asked her, how's that, Jessie? What if later on, Pauline opens her own restaurant and becomes even like more popular than you, or kind of like becomes your competitor if she opens her own restaurant? And then Jessie answered, I will be proud because I was the one who taught her. So that really stuck with me after all these years, that um, she's very giving. She had no secrets. Um, she would be very patient in teaching everything. That's why up to today, we even have a messenger group of all the former Les Souffle, the former Les Souffle employees, and a lot of them are still with her up to today, with Chef Jessie's. That's one. The second one is my former boss in the States, Will Hollinger, who's still my friend in Facebook also. And the reason why I really look up to him, the same thing again. He would share everything. He did, for in the restaurant that we were working at, we were only 5 in the kitchen. We did like about 300 for lunch, 350 for dinner. It's very, very easy it would have been very easy for him to say, oh, I'm just going to use instant chicken stock. I'm going to use, you know, all these instant things. But no, he did everything from scratch. So we are looking at more like a tourist type restaurant, but the quality is more of like a was more like a fine dining restaurant. But again, even more than the skills, I entered when my other friend entered as interns, and then they eventually got us. They worked for our papers.
Mm-hmm.
But like, for example, if he would tell us to come in 6 in the morning, he would be in at 5 in the morning or 4 in the morning.
Wow.
If he would tell us to leave at like 1 o'clock in the morning, which that was how long our schedule was, he would leave at 2 o'clock in the morning. Why? Because even if the restaurant was closed already, he had to clean everything. He will not, shortcut. Every day we would have to, like, I remember that it was like sweep 1, scrub, mop, sweep 2. So even no matter how late, he would send us home, but he's still there. So the passion for the career, the passion for serving I would say safe, high quality food, talking about no additives, no preservatives, everything from scratch, I learned that from him. So, and really how, the third one, I would say, is Chef Norbert Gandler. I was working with him in ISCAM because I taught in ISCAM for quite some time also. The same thing also with Chef Norbert. I mean, he owned the school, and the other chefs as well there, Chef Uli and Chef Hans. Well, Chef Hans passed away already. But he owned the school. He could leave, let all the other teachers teach the classes. But no, he would be there like 6:30 in the morning to teach the 7 o'clock class. And at that time, when they opened Aubergine, I don't remember that restaurant, which was right across St. Luke's BGC. Imagine he would be in ISCAM in Quezon City, 6:30 in the morning, start class at 7, finish at about 2, go to BGC, stay in the restaurant up to closing, like probably midnight or sometimes 1 in the morning, and be back in ISCAM to teach at 6:30 in the morning the next day.
That's dedication.
So, yes, that's dedication.
Wow.
That's really dedication. And that's why
That's
I think
nice.
also when he was executive chef of the Mandarin, that's when Mandarin was winning all their awards. And he has so many, what you call Chef Norbert's babies. He has so many babies who are, really top chefs now. We really learned a lot from him.
Yes, ma'am.
So I would say those are the top three. There are many others. But uh, those are the top three that I really look up to, who I know who are all my bosses.
Right.
Wow. Thank you for that.
We'll take one more question. King, go ahead, King.
Good afternoon, Chef. Thank you very
Hello.
much for sharing with us that very sumptuous dessert. Just want to ask, I'm born into a family of really good cooks, but there
Mhm.
are no chefs in the family. Uh,
Mhm.
I really took cooking seriously when I was quarantined last March
Yes.
because I had
Yes.
pneumonia. No? Uh,
Mm-mm.
my style is yung tansya-tansya, coach,
Mm-mm.
chef,
Mm-mm.
no? Is it really okay not to be exact when it comes
You
to
know,
cooking?
is it okay to be not exact?
Not
Is
not
that what you're
exact.
asking?
Yung parang ang ginagawa ko kasi tansya-tansya. Pero that's what I saw with
Yes.
my dad and my
Yeah.
grandmother. So,
Same.
masarap
Same in our
naman nung
family.
lumalabas. um,
Okay. Yes. Go. Yeah. Sorry.
yeah, okay lang po ba na ganun yung style? And if ever that I will, let's say, venture into Saturday, let's say, online selling of let's say, like spaghetti, let's say, ganun.
Mm-mm.
Okay lang po ba yun na ganun yung maging style ko? Na patok naman sa, actually tried it when I taught in LaSalle Green Hills. I
Mm-mm.
cooked for my co-workers spaghetti one time in carbonara. Naubos naman po.
Yes.
Actually,
Mm-mm.
naubos naman.
I'm sure you cook really
Wala na.
well.
Yeah.
Okay. For baking, it's a little bit harder. Tied up with the question on the food tech earlier, is there are certain ratios and proportions that you really have to know in baking. Uh, if I put too much flour, for example, in the pudding that we made, it's going to be hard. Or if I put too little, it will just be runny, right? So baking is a little bit more exact, but like for example, what I mentioned with the one I did today, it's a little bit more flexible because I can, put let's say less sugar or more sugar if I want, or I can change the milk, etc. For cooking on its own, of course, it's okay, kancha. But however, if you're going to do it as a business, you have to look at it in terms of consistency. One is consistency, right? Unless you yourself are doing everything. The second is how are you going to do your food costing, right? If kunwari daw tansya, kung today I put let's say 1 teaspoon salt and then tomorrow I put 1.5 teaspoon salt, iba na yung costing mo, right? And then exact measurements also will help you when you start ordering or when you start to get orders for more. Like for example, if pwede kong tansyahin ng 1 Pyrex of spaghetti, but later on, you have, let's say, 50 orders of the spaghetti, 50 Pyrex, or how you have to compute how much meat are you going to buy, how much tomato sauce, how much pasta noodles, and you need a base for that. So the base could be your base recipe. In reality, well, saying that that's for food costing purposes, but in restaurants, like the restaurants I work in the savory side, in the cooking side, of course, in the end, they're not measuring 1 tablespoon and putting it in. They're really, you know, tinatansya nga in quotes. But since they're doing it day in, day out, and they're cooking like 50 orders a day, for example, or even more, they pretty much can eyeball it already. So you still have the base recipe, but you might fluctuate a little bit more or a little bit less.
Mhm. Mhm. Chef, sorry, can you still take two more questions, Chef?
Yeah, sure.
Go, Andy, go muna, Andy.
Good afternoon po,
Good
Chef
afternoon.
Pau. My name is Andy. I'm in freshman in college right now under hospitality management. And I'm taking
Okay.
up cooking classes soon po. So I
Where
just
are
wanted
you
to,
studying?
a UST
Where are you
po.
studying? Okay.
I,
All
I
right.
have two questions. First is,
Mhm.
what are the basic requirements to be a successful chef or a successful cook? And second, if it's okay to ask, did
Mhm.
you have any struggles when you were starting out your career or when you were learning how to cook, and how did you overcome it?
Okay. So the first question again was, um, what was the
What
first
are
question
the
again?
what
Yeah.
are the
What
basic
the basic?
requirements to
Okay.
be a
The basic requirements to be a cook or to be a chef.
either?
Because for me there's a difference. In fact, I always tell this to my students. When you graduate from culinary school, you're not a chef. You're a cook. To be a good cook, of course, in a professional kitchen, one is that of course you have to know how to cook, right? You have to know how to do. You have to love what you do. But what's important, even more important than the skill, is the attitude. Because in a kitchen, you're always working as a team. So if your team members, if you're fighting with everybody, that's one. It's going to come out in the food. The second is your team members have to trust you and rely on you. Also, for example, quite a few times this happened to me, but it's unintentional, not because uh, I couldn't rely on my other colleagues. Like there was a time I was working in the executive dining room of Citibank, and my schedule was 7 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon. So you're looking forward already to 2 in the afternoon, and then the next shift comes in at 7 to 3. Then your next shift comes in at 3 to 11. Last minute, I was already dressed, and then can you do a double shift because this person is absent? So suddenly I have to stay until like 11 o'clock, and I was there like 6:30 in the morning. That's what I mean about relying on someone. Of course, you can't help it if they get sick or something, but someone who's always absent, someone will always have to jump in and do that person's job. And those little, yung naiinis ka, after a while, yung parang, they probably want to clobber him already or her. Uh, it's also a very high stress job, a la carte cooking. And there are lots of very short tempers um, as well. So it's controlling that. So that's what's important. More important than skill, because the skill you can learn. Like your other classmate earlier, her son is really learning already on his own, watching Gordon Ramsay, watching videos because he's passionate about it, right? Uh, if he applies for a job now, he will not be perfect. There's always different chefs will have different styles, different methods, different techniques. But if you're always open-minded to learning and you love what you're doing, then you can learn the skill. Uh, and then your second question was, what are the hurdles or the challenges that I
Yes.
went through? Um, many, many challenges. Every day there's a challenge. Something will always happen. How do I overcome that? I think what's very important is that you always have to be positive, and you always have to don't dwell on the mistakes, but learn from it. For example, what can I? For example, if today I burned the pudding that I made, right? I'm not going to be like, oh no, palpak yung demo, it was a disaster, nakakahiya, and you know, stuff like that. I would look at it and say, okay, next time I'm not going to do that recipe for a live demo, or next time I have to turn down the heat. You learn from it and then you move on. Uh, a lot of screaming and shouting and cursing in the kitchen, in one ear out the other also. So many, and it's always how should I say it? It's don't yeah like don't dwell on it. Go forward and try to find a solution. I'll give you an example. When I was working in Le Souffle, we had a catering event. I remember that. So we needed the wedding cake. So Jessie was doing the wedding cake. So she said, "You stay with me," because it was already late. Na late na yun, nauna na sila. And because it was late, I was holding, she was driving in her car, she was driving so fast. I was in the passenger seat, holding the tray with the cake on top, that's the wedding cake. And then biglang nag-break. I was holding the tray. The tray survived. The cake hit the dashboard. Okay, but the bride and the groom are already there in the house. So it was really when we got there, like try to fix it, like don't put it in the spotlight, put it there where where it's kind of dark. So those are some things that can happen that
Wow.
you cannot really control. So the front part of the cake looked really nice, but the back part of the cake was like a disaster.
Oh my God. Oh, one last. Sino sa inyo? Who's asking last? Isa? Oh, go.
Hi.
Go, Isa. Sige.
This is actually like a throwback question.
Okay.
I found that you were competing before in different countries. Um, by the way, I'm Isa po pala. I'm an HRM student also, like my sisters. I'm an incoming third year. I already had my cooking class. I was just wondering, what were your experiences when you were competing? What can you share from your experience? What were your tips? Kasi I also want to compete as well as my friends. If ever there will be an opportunity.
Okay. For competing, I would say it's fun, but a lot of stress also. But it's back again to, if you enjoy what you're doing, you're going to be okay with the stress. Um, there's not a particular tip that I can give you, but the important thing really is to really just do your best in whatever competition you're doing. In fact, maybe you don't even have to aim to win, because just participating, just the fact that you were chosen to join that competition is already recognition enough. And it's not. I've competed. I've seen teams, even local, when I was judging, or even in other countries where they're so secretive and they don't want to show you anything, and like it's ours only. Um, of course, it has to be confidential, right? Because you don't want to see really what you don't want them to see what you're doing. But it's also at the same time being open to others. I think the greatest thing that I got from competing is not really the recognition, but the networking. The networking, in fact, a lot of us are friends now in like Facebook. So other chefs, local and foreign chefs, and then other colleagues as well. So that's the fun part of competing, because you get to meet people from different walks of life and from the different nationalities as well. So just enjoy, because you know what? In the end, especially you're still a student, you might end up working with the same people. So you might be like, if you're from UST and someone else is from CCA or ISCAM, and then when you graduate and you apply in a hotel, and oh, by the way, yeah, we competed against each other, and now you're colleagues. So and you always get as a corporate chef, for example, that really helped a lot, because when I was doing the regional corporate chef job, I'm very familiar with the Philippine market, but I wasn't familiar with the for example, the Thai market, the Vietnamese market, the Singapore market. So I would get in touch with my friends in Singapore, in Thailand, and say, what's the trend there now? Can you help me? The trend is Japanese cheesecake, the trend is green tea, and they would help. And up to today, yeah, we're still friends.
Nice.
But it all started there, like, oh, we competed against each other in this particular competition. We judged together also. So there is a Young Chefs Club And you can also join that because the Young Chefs Club not only does competitions, but like last year we did an outreach. We went to the ITAS in Pampanga, and we cooked for them, for the kids. We cooked for the kids. There I think we were about 15. And then we also gave them some seedlings to plant. So they had like papaya and chilies, bell peppers. So we spent the day there. They took Blanche, which is the professional chefs, together with the Young Chefs Club. So the Young Chefs Club were the ones like assisting us at that time. I think you have to be up to, I think it's 21 or 22 is the age limit for the Young Chefs Club. But I think it's like 16 to 21 or 16 to 22. And you don't have to be a culinary. You can be HRM, you can be culinary, or you can even be working na, like your first job.
Nice.
So they were all from different schools. They were all from different schools. So it was fun. It was a fun thing.
Okay. Chef Pau, is there anything that you'd like them to include in the article? Like anything? Your cooking class and all that?
No, I'm not doing any cooking classes. No, I'm actually busy now with if you can include my pages, FB and IG, my business. I'm concentrating on that because I can't really do much. Once in a while, they invite me for like the last one I did is to ask the baker with the WOFEX University. We did a webinar, parang 2 webinars. But other than that, yeah, that's what I'm concentrating on now.
Okay. All right. Chef Pau, we want to thank you for this. We'll tag you with the articles.
Thank you. Yeah.
The best
Nice
one
to see you again.
Nice to see you again. Chef Pau will just take one class picture with you right
Wait,
now.
I'm gonna move far. I look so far. Send it to me.
I will. Okay. Smile, everyone. Smile. One more, just to be sure. One more. Smile, everyone. All right. Chef Pau, thank you so much.
Thanks, Rick. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Class say bye to Chef. Thank you.
Thank
Class
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you po.
Bye-bye po.
Thank you po.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank you.
tag me when you make the pudding.
Yes, for sure.
All right. Thanks,
Okay.
Chef.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Chef, you may exit. I'll talk to them pa.
Okay, yeah. Sige, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye po.
I'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Oh, class. Was that a learning experience for you guys?
Yeah, it was amazing.
So,
Yeah, nakakaguto.
all right. Simple lang to, guys. Sulat nyo ng maayos. You just latch onto one. There is no need to go through all of that. Just pick on something that moved you. But again, no, ideally kasi I want you to talk about what you did, of course, no, the pudding in this pandemic. That has to be featured. Kahit paano, then you can just get one of her other quotes for something. Di ba? Yun. So we'll be talking more about that. I'll upload this as soon as I get it out of the cloud. I'll upload it on YouTube so you can watch. So that you know, she's not just into cooking. She loves F1, Formula 1 racing. Yep. Massive Formula 1 fan. And pareho kami, we're into tennis. We love tennis like anything. Diba? So yun. So, good luck sa pagsusulat nyo. You can ask me for advice. Again, remember how we were doing it? Diba? How you start it off. Diba? You choose something. Maganda yung lead off mo. And then end it. The way you end it, it's, diba? I taught certain techniques on how you want to end it. It doesn't need to be kilometric. Substance tayo, quality over length. So don't ask me how long. I'll share with you the pictures, and if you I'll share with you a picture that she asked me. She let me use for your use. I'll share it to chat room. All right. So do a good job on this. When is just due? Monday morning. If you're done earlier, so much the better. So you can post it and gain some traction with it, so much the better yon. All right? So, class, I want to thank you, Erica, Francis. Si Francis, di nakapagtanong. Sorry talaga, we went into overtime.
Okay.
Chris, Andy, Chris in Kazakhstan, I hope you're fine over there, brother. I hope you're safe. AJ, Alyssa,
Hopefully.
Isa, and Jules, thanks so much. Your other classmates will just watch this later. Amy, nawala si Amy. All right, so thanks everyone. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you po, sir.
Bye
Thank you,
po.
sir.
Bye. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.